A couple buys their dream home. Payments $38, $32 a month. Totally doable. 2 months later, the mortgage company sends a new bill for a whopping $4,900 a month. Same house, same loan, nobody changed the deal. The question is, what happened? The lender calculated their property taxes on the land only because the house wasn't built yet when the assessment ran. Nobody caught it. Not the loan officer, not the processor, or the closer of the loan team. And that is not a fluke. That's what happens when the system approves you and nobody's job is to protect you. Today, we're talking about house poor, what it actually looks like, why smart people fall into it, and the specific mortgage side habits that keep it from happening to you. I want to play you something a woman posted on TikTok some time ago. 4 years into owning her house, she said the quiet part out loud.
After 4 years of owning a home, here are 4 things I wish I knew / did differently when I bought my house at 24. I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. I think a lot of people in their 20s who buy homes don't want to admit. I bought my house for the wrong reasons. I felt like I had something to prove. I felt like it was the next step. I felt like it was the American dream to buy this house, not because in my core, I genuinely wanted to buy a home. It also costs significantly more than when we were renting. This is actually a really common thing when you live in a high cost of living area. It's not exactly like you're saving money. The thing is always broken as well. Like 2 Christmases ago, we had leaky shit water from a clogged toilet coming down onto my downstairs area. We're also constantly having ant issues despite having pest control. Just when you think you are free of issues, something else will break.
That's real. I'll tell you what I heard. I didn't hear someone who made a dumb decision. I heard someone who's honest enough to look back and name the real reason why she bought. Wanting to prove something, wanting to feel like she arrived. That's not a character flaw. That's most of us at some point. Here's what bugs me though. She's carrying on all of that on her shoulders, the clogged pipes, the ants, the payment that crept past what renting cost, and some of that is genuinely bad luck. Homes do break, but some of it is stuff a real conversation before she signed they probably could have caught. That's the part I want to talk to you about today. I've been doing this for 26 years. I started in a call center selling loans that were designed to trap people. I didn't know it then, but looking back, it was not a good decision. The cool part is I quit 6 months after because I couldn't stomach watching it happen. Everything I've built since then is the opposite of that room. So when I see someone online explaining 4 years late what she wished she would have known, my first thought is, why didn't anyone in that transaction ask her harder questions before she signed? I'm gonna walk you through what house poor actually is, not the Instagram version, the real one. I'm gonna show you the specific ways it sneaks up on people that really did nothing wrong. And then I'm going to show you the exact mortgage questions that a mortgage lender strategist should be asking you before you ever go to signing. And the ones that would have caught a payment nobody stress tested, maybe because you had a slow month. House poor doesn't mean broke. It means the house is eating everything. Groceries got tighter, the car becomes a 5-alarm fire. You own something beautiful and you're 1 month away from pure panic. It shows up 4 ways almost every time. Overbuying, getting pre-approved for a number and treating the ceiling like it's your target. Underestimating the real monthly cost. The mortgage is the one line item. Taxes, insurance, HOA, maintenance, they all ride along and most buyers only budget for a portion of that. And the last culprit, rising cost over time. Insurance in this state has not been gentle the last 2 years. And in California, your taxes reset at the purchase, which means the county is eventually going to catch up to the new assessed value. And when that supplemental tax bill lands, it can feel like a punch if nobody warned you. That's why it's so important to work with a lender who gets that tax number right at underwriting and flags that supplemental bill before it ever shows up. It's a non-event instead of a freak out. You might be wondering, well, all lenders are going to be calculating the property taxes the correct way. Believe it or not, underwriters, lenders screw up. I want to show you another clip because this one's about something specific. A woman explaining why owning her condo has been one of the biggest regrets of her entire life. Because when something breaks, it's on her, not the landlord. Dude, the second TikTok, Francesca something. This girl's crazy.
I'm gonna keep it 100%. Home ownership is not what I expected it to be. Honestly, if I had my time back, I would never in a million years have bought a condo. I regret it so much. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life. Renting, you have that like stress-free, no worry in the world. If something in my condo breaks, it's my responsibility to fix that issue. If I'm renting, I just call up my property manager, landlord, whoever, and just say, hey, this is broken, this appliance isn't working. It's their responsibility to send somebody in and fix that ASAP. When you're a homeowner, you're the one that has to do the research on finding someone to come in. You're the one that has to take the time and make sure everything's working smoothly. It's such a headache. I'll give you an example. Today, I had the unit below my condo say that they have a leak in their washroom. It's my responsibility to call a plumber, contact the property manager, and make sure it's fixed. And when you're a renter, that's not my problem. Like, my landlord will fix that problem. I'm paying rent, and that's a wrap. That's where my responsibility finishes. If I could turn back.
Well, she's not wrong about any of that. That's the real. When you rent, there's a leak. It's a phone call. When you own, a leak is your Saturday. You search for a plumber and you're looking at your bank account. Genuinely part of what you're signing up for. Here's where I'd push back a little, not on her experience, on the conclusion. The problem isn't that she owns. The problem is nobody priced the actual maintenance into the plan before she moved in. I call it the sniper piece, the cost that shows up when you're least expecting it. Here's a rule to kind of set your expectations. Budget 1 to 3% of the home's value every year for repairs and upkeep. Before anything breaks, not after. That is the truth of owning a home. That's just the real truth, that things are going to break. Renting is not the wrong answer for a lot of people at a lot of stages of life. But if you're going to own a home, the maintenance line has to be in the plan from day one. Otherwise, every single time that something breaks, it'll feel like betrayal inside of a Tuesday. Here's a myth that I want to bust. The idea that house poor is a personal failing, that if you just researched harder, budgeted better, you wouldn't be in it. Nobody in a typical transaction is required to ask if the payment actually fits your life. Not the agent, not the seller, not the bank. Technically, they're required to tell you what you qualify for. Qualifying for it and being able to live inside it comfortably are two totally different questions, and almost nobody is asking the second one. That's not an excuse to skip the planning. It's the reason that planning matters more than people think. This is the part of the process where my team can get involved, and it's the part most people never get. Before anything goes to underwriting, I want the real number, not the Zillow number estimate, the actual principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment with the property tax assessment based on what the county actually charges once the home exists, not what the land was worth before the house was built on. You remember that escrow surprise I opened with? That's a documented failure. It happens on new construction specifically because the reassessment lags the purchase. A good loan officer catches that before you sign, not after the first annual statement. I also want to know what a slow month looks like for you. If your income has any variability at all, like bonus, commission, you're self-employed, I'm definitely not underwriting on your best month. We're going to be more conservative. I'm building around more of an average one and making sure that the house and you survive it. All right, here's one more. She's a bride-to-be in the middle of planning her wedding, whose water heater goes out right after she buys a house, and who ends up adding rain gutters she hadn't budgeted for, all landing in the same season as her wedding.
Y'all, I am regretting buying a house. My fiance and I have not even lived in it for a year, and we had to buy an AC unit already, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. Obviously necessary and worth it, but very unfortunate. We're also trying to plan a wedding, so that was not ideal for the budget. And then we had to add gutters, and then on top of that, we now probably have to replace our water heater. Just can't catch a break. And before anyone comes at me, we did have an inspection. None of it was flagged. So it's been a rough day. It's been a rough couple of months.
Well, that's timing nobody warns you about. Big life moments don't wait for your house to cooperate. A water heater doesn't know you've got a wedding in 6 weeks. Gutters don't know that you've got your deposit due. This is exactly why a reserves conversation isn't optional. Reserves are money for a rainy day after you buy the house. It's not just, have you got some money saved? It's planning specifically for the year where two expensive things land at once, because eventually they will. That's the part where this rainy day fund, what we call reserves check, is so important, and what it's actually for. Not just surviving a slow month at work, surviving the year where life throws you two big bills at the same time. So here's what I would share with anyone sitting where she was 4 years ago. 1, get the real principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment before you fall in love with that home, not after. 2, keep that all-in payment inside a band you know you could live with in a slow month, not just your best one. 3, build that rainy day fund, the reserve fund, before you move in, not after, because once something breaks, and it will, it's not going to be fun. And 4, ask specifically your lender, how are the property taxes collected, especially on new construction? That one question would have saved a lot of people from a very bad February. And I'm going to end it there, you guys. Thank you guys.